Hello, guys. Today I want to talk about the systems of opinion, thought, belief, action. Originally, I've made a live video about that, but I was on mute, so I was talking for 22 minutes on my own. I'm making a video again. It was a mistake. Anyways, today's topic is about the systems of opinion, thought, belief, action, and what does that mean? An opinion is, let's say someone calls me dumb, stupid, you're never going to be successful in life, you're ugly, you're not going to win, and I entertain that opinion or I listen to someone's opinion. That opinion turns into a thought. So I start to think, I'm dumb, I'm stupid, I'm never going to be successful, everyone hates me, I'm so down in life. I start to entertain that thought. And now that thought turns into a belief. I start to believe I'm dumb, I'm stupid, I'm never going to be successful, everyone hates me. This is the reason why I'm going to be so low in life. And this is the reason why nothing is going to work at all whatsoever. So that turns into a belief. And then it turns into an action. And the action is I just give up. I don't want to continue in life, and I just want to basically not grow in life because I'm going to listen to what other people say about me. It's very important in life that if you want to grow, don't always live your life based on people's opinion. If I live my life based on what my family says about me, if I live my life based on what people on social media have to say about me, if I live my life based on what others say about me, friends, family, loved ones, whatever it is, if we live our life based on the opinions of our people around me, then automatically I'm putting myself in a position of not having the greatest success. Why? Because realistically talking, if most people say to me, you're not going to win in life, you're a failure, everyone hates you, you're dumb, you're stupid, then the fact that I'm listening to people's opinion and thoughts, then this turns into a thought, and then that thought turns into a belief, and that belief turns into an action. I give up. Unfortunately, this is the common reasons. This is one of the most common reasons why people give up and suicide in life. Sometimes when someone who is getting bullied too much, is having a hard time, and people who unfortunately get bullied, sometimes they are told by the bullies, you know what, why don't you just give up in life? Why do you exist? Why don't you just go die and kill yourself? And for someone who goes through like so much bullying, unfortunately, it can be so overwhelming that when everyone tells you to do that, it's very easy for that opinion to get into your head. And then that turns into a thought. You start thinking about it. And then it turns into a belief. You start to think, I'm worthless. Why do I exist? Let me die. And then you unfortunately just suicide and you basically give up. And opinion, thought, belief, action has two outcomes. It has a positive outcome. It has a negative outcome. The positive outcome is ignoring people's opinion, being yourself. What does that mean? If someone calls me stupid, I ignore it. If someone calls me dumb, I ignore it. If someone says I'm worthless, I ignore it. You have to cut out people's opinion just so that you can build a more positive mindset. If I cut out negative opinions and negative thoughts and I start believing in myself, this automatically cuts out people's opinion. It cuts out any negative comments, and you're only left with thought, belief, and action. So what's the thought? Thought is what you think about yourself. No one said anything bad about you. No one called you ugly. No one called you stupid. No one said you're handsome. Thought is just something that you basically think about yourself. It's your mind, what you think about yourself without the opinion being included. Unfortunately, some of us, due to life circumstances or due to hardships or due to difficulties in life, sometimes we start thinking, I'm worthless, I'm dumb, I'm stupid, nothing is going to work out for me in life. I'm going to be a failure for the rest of my life. When we start thinking bad thoughts about ourselves, obviously it turns into a belief. I start thinking that, it turns into action. I give up in life. We need to cut out negative thoughts and we need to think positively. How can I think more positively about myself? So number one, I need to cut out negative thoughts. I need to stop entertaining it. When you entertain a negative thought, it grows. For example, if I have thoughts about myself, I'm dumb, and I start entertaining that thought grows. You know, when you start, for example, let's say you're learning how to drive a car and you are driving 2 to 3 days a week with your instructor. The more you do it, the more you grow in your skills, the more you grow in your awareness of the road, of the vision, planning, anticipating well ahead, knowing how to drive, knowing how to legally follow the rules and so on and so forth, speed limit. You improve. You grow in your driving skills and you improve. And based on how you perform, you will either pass or fail your driving test. This is the exact same thing with thoughts. Based on how we train our thought and based on the thoughts we entertain, if we entertain negative thoughts, these thoughts grow. And when they grow, they can turn into a belief, a system of belief that we've created through a system of thinking. And then that turns into action. We probably want to give up in life. We don't want to move on in life. And I just want to give up, like, flip sakes, everyone hates me. That turns into a belief and that turns into an action. It's the exact same thing with positive thinking. Most people don't know how to think positively. I'll give you tips. I'll try to give you around 4 or 5 tips. First tip, or don't entertain, as I said, first tip, don't entertain the negative thoughts so they don't grow. Ignore it. Second tip, practice saying something good about yourself every single day. Like, for example, I can win, I will win, and I know I will win in life, and I know I can do it. If you practice saying something like that every single day, this natural repetition of thought turns into a belief, and that turns into action, and you really start believing, you know what, I can do it. So by cutting out negative thoughts and practicing something, one good word to say positive about yourself every single day, you've improved already. So it's cutting out negative thoughts, practicing positive thoughts about saying something about yourself, and then environment. There's a quote by James Clear that environment is what shapes the human behavior. The environment influences the way you think. Be around people who think positively. Your friends, if they think positively, your family, any community, any people who inspire positivity. They always say good things. They say never give up, be yourself. If you're around these people, you become like them. If you're around negative people, you become like them. And number 4, my final advice is you just have to step out of your comfort zone and just learn to grow in life and learn to be yourself. So number 1, don't entertain any negative thoughts and cut out those negative thoughts. Number 2, practice one good word. Say something good about yourself. I'm handsome. I'm cute. I am the one. I'm going to win in life. And I know I can do it. No one can stop me. That repetition naturally turns into a belief and that turns into action. Number 3, have faith in yourself. You know, believe in yourself and your environment, as I said as well. Number 3 is your environment. You know, be with people who are positive so you become like them. And number 4, take care of your health. When you sleep and wake up on time, when you eat healthy, when you drink enough water, when you exercise, when you meditate, when you take care of yourself and you have a routine and you have an environment of positive thinking and you practice something good to say about yourself every single day and you cut out negative thoughts and you just be yourself, I promise you, you can think positively and you can literally get so far in life because of that. Now, a lot of people don't know that. But the reason why we don't succeed in life is because of we live our life based on other people's opinion and thought. You know, when I'm living my life on someone's thought, then I'm always automatically living my life based on that thought, which turns into a belief and that turns into an action. If we want to succeed in life, we can't live our life based on opinions. We just can't. Like, these people don't know you. People on social media, your friends and your family. Okay, your friends and your family know you, but people on social media, they don't actually know you that good as your friends and your family. And unfortunately, even our own friends and family can misunderstand us sometimes. You know, sometimes your friends and your family, they might say something that's not good about you. You need to learn to sometimes ignore that opinion, ignore that thought. Because a thought grows when you think about it. You know, a thought, you condition your brain based on that thought, and that thought turns into a feeling. Excuse me. Hello. So as I was saying, that thought turns into a belief, and that belief turns into an action. So if you want to feel positive, if you want to feel the best, if you want to do the best, if you want to perform the best, if you want to win in life, don't follow your thoughts if it's a bad thought. Only listen to your thoughts if it's a positive thought, and cut out any opinions of people, negative opinions. Now, obviously, if someone has a positive opinion about you, we could, in moderation, allow that thought and motivate ourselves. But realistically talking, it's not the way to go in life. We can't live our life based on people's opinion, because at some point in life, someone will say something bad about you. There will be someone who's against you. Why? Unfortunately, in life, when we do succeed, let's say, for example, you're in a classroom, you are doing psychology, you are a top student in your class, and someone has a lot of envy towards you, someone has a lot of jealousy towards you. Why is this guy so good? Why is he or she so successful? I hate that. And then they start throwing bad words about you. They start saying something so bad about you, and you start listening to them. You start entertaining the thought. You're like, man, you know what? Maybe he's right. Maybe I'm messed up. Maybe I'm dumb. Maybe I'm stupid. What am I doing with my life? You start thinking about that, and it turns into a belief, and then it turns into an action you give up. But also the opposite is true as well. Sometimes there are people who are more successful than you. They'll bully you. They will laugh at you, and they'll say you cannot be successful. Either ways, regardless if you are successful, or regardless if someone is more successful than you, you have to learn to ignore other people's opinion. If it's a negative one, do not entertain it. You have to learn to be yourself, and you have to learn to have confidence in yourself, and you have to allow yourself to grow in life and be yourself and never give up. Just have confidence in yourself. Just believe in yourself. Just say to yourself, I am the one. I can win in life. I know I will do it. I'm cute. I'm handsome. I'm smart. No one can stop me. Practice positive thought. That thought turns into a belief. It turns into action. If you want success in life, you need to take care of what you think. Take it like it's something important in life, because it is. It really is. Your thought really affects your actions and the next steps you take in life. When our thought is filled with negative thinking, when our thought is overwhelmed by other people's opinion, when our thought is just like, I don't know, man, maybe this guy thinks bad about me, maybe she thinks bad about me, maybe I don't know, I can't do it, man, sorry, I give up, then unfortunately you are turning that thought into a negative belief, and that turns into a negative action. A thought can turn into a negative energy or a positive energy. How does it turn into a negative energy? As I said, when someone has something bad to say about you, the more you entertain it, that grows. And then when that grows, you start believing that, you start giving up in life, and then you don't want to grow in life. You just want to give up. You just want to relax on the couch. You just want to stay in your comfort zone. In fact, most people don't step out of their comfort zone because I'm always listening to someone's people's opinion. I always listen to what other people have to say about me. You're not going to step out of your comfort zone. If you're scared to go outside and exercise in the gym, if you're scared to go outside and exercise in the public, if you're scared to go outside and be yourself, if you're scared to make change because you're scared of other people's opinion, automatically you're always going to be in your comfort zone. That means you're going to be playing video games, watching porn, eating junk food, following your own comfort, following your own desires, following your own pleasures. You're not going to do much with your life. You're just going to give up because you're listening to other people's opinion. You're listening to other people's thought. And this is why you give up in life. People who listen to people's opinion, they live in their comfort zone, and they struggle to step out of their comfort zone, and they won't have the best success in life. Now, people will say to you, you're a loser in life, you're never going to give up. Let me tell you one thing. If you listen to people who say bad things about you, then you're not going to win in life. If you always listen to people who say you're ugly, you're stupid, you're not smart, you're dumb, I hate you, go to hell, go die. If you listen to what people say about you, you're not going to win in life. You're going to struggle, you're going to be a failure. And this isn't me trying to say something bad, but this is me just talking about reality. Like, reality is, if you listen to people, you're going to just feed your life, and your life is going to, you're going to shape your life based on people's opinion. Imagine you have a book, and that book has a chapter of your life. It's either a good life or it's either a bad life. And you're writing, literally, when you follow other people's opinion, you are writing chapters. You are writing pages and making chapters based on what people have to say about you. Your entire life book is you living your life based on other people's opinion. Let me read my book. I never stepped out of my comfort zone. I always believed I'm a loser. I wanted to be a scientist, but people told me I can't, so I didn't. I wanted to be a doctor. People told me I couldn't, so I couldn't do it. People said to me I cannot win in life. I can't do it. I stayed in my comfort zone. I believed I'm a loser. You know, this is your book. Your book is all filled with people's opinion. Now, the book of you being yourself, you loving yourself, you having confidence in yourself. Let me open that book. I am handsome. I am cute. I am smart. Hey, I'm going to win in life. I believe to be a scientist. I'm so close. Hey, look, I'm a scientist right now. I'm a doctor. I achieved so many goals in life. I believed in myself. I say to myself, I am the one. I'm never going to give up. Now look at that book. That book is a lot more better. You believed in yourself. You had faith in yourself, and you are more successful. Take the example of a man. Let's say there's a man who has a lot of weight. You know, he's fat. He has a lot of weight. He eats junk food, and he's scared to step out of his comfort zone. There's two options. The A fat man and the B fat man. The A fat man listens to other people's opinion, even though he wants fitness and he wants to exercise and improve himself. And the B, he doesn't. What's the difference? With the A, people tell him he can't be fit, he can't do it, he's not going to win in life, he's dumb. Excuse me. They say to him, you can't do it, you're not going to win in life, you're fat, you're ugly, you're dumb. And then what does he do? He gives up. He doesn't want to try. So he's going to continue eating junk food. He's going to continue gaining weight, and he's going to continue gaining weight and never being fit. Now let's talk about option B. He has a lot of weight, right? But he goes to the gym. He doesn't care what other people have to say about him. He has confidence in himself. He exercises. He puts in effort towards his fitness, and he really, really does achieve his goal. And like, he puts in effort. He believes in himself, and any negative thoughts, he cuts it out. He thinks good thoughts about himself. He's likely to be more successful just because of the way he thinks. That mindset of shift. Also, one thing I want to note, the mindset you have in life comes from the way you think, and comes from if you entertain people's opinion and negative thoughts. You know, most people, they build their mindset based on opinions of what someone has to say about me. They build negative thoughts based on what I think about myself. And that turns into a mindset. A negative mindset comes from negative thoughts, comes from negative opinions from other people. So ignore it. We don't give a crap what these people think about us. Love yourself. When you think positively, when you love yourself, when you say, I'm handsome, I'm cute, I'm smart, I'm going to win in life, then you're going to do it just because you believe in yourself. You know, for example, look at this cat, right? This cat is a cute cat. If I also have the same thought, I'm cute, I'm handsome, I'm smart, I can win in life, I will be successful. It's all based on conditioning your brain to think positively. That has an effect on the outcome of how successful you will be in life and how you will view life in general. Believe in yourself, have confidence in yourself, love yourself, and don't follow other people's opinion. I promise you, if you want to be the best, if you want to feel the best, if you want to do the best, avoid entertaining negative thoughts, practice positive saying, be around people who influence positivity, have a healthy mind, have a healthy routine that will influence also positivity in your life, and just be yourself. I want to ask one question, regardless if someone is watching my live or not, or if you watch it after I streamed, I don't know. I want to ask you one question. Do you live your life, and be honest, do you live your life based on opinion, thought? Do you live your life based on someone's opinion that you can't win in life? Or do you win your life based on your own opinion that you can't win in life? What's the difference? When someone says you can't win in life, that actually grows stronger into a thought. But when you think about it yourself, then it's not people's opinion that's a problem. It's you are the problem, that you think you can't do it. So what do you think the problem is? Do you think too much negative about yourself, or you think you listen to other people's opinion too much? That's a question I wanted to ask. Anyways, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys on another stream. Goodbye.